Welcome, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are back with more Dwarf Fortress. This is episode 10 of my fourth season playing the game here on YouTube, and this is our second fortress here in this world. So we chose one of the civilizations that doesn't have like a lot of fortresses on the world, so that means we're trying to build them up, essentially, and one day we might even start an adventure mode run in this world too. But regardless, our current fort sitting at a population of 10 dwarves, so we've only had one migration wave since starting, and I hope we'll see another. But we did just recently have some trading, so we've even still got some stuff sitting up here, a billy goat that needs to probably be moved. Let's do that. Let's start off by moving our billy goat. So we'll select the zone for the animals. And let's see, there should be an option even if they're in cages to place them, but I don't see it there at all. That's weird. Maybe the billy goat wasn't for sale. Maybe the trader is still putting stuff away. But regardless, we haven't even got our walls up yet. So, and one thing I want to check on right away. Let's go to the kitchen level. And yeah, we've been struggling with the drinks. And I think maybe I know why. Now, thanks to one of the commenters out there, let's go to labor and then kitchen. And if we scroll down, yes, here it is. So big shout out to Edvard. I think he mentioned this a couple times, but I missed the first comment apparently. But the reason why we're struggling to maintain a high level of booze is because the kitchen is using it for meals. Yeah. So we've been to this screen once or twice already to basically make sure that anything which can be used for cooking or for brewing is deselected for cooking, because we really want to focus on booze. But then, I forgot that the cooks will actually use liquors in their meals, a little splash of rum or some beer, to deglaze a pan. Well, that's great and all. I'm sure it improves the overall meal, but it also depletes from the fortress's drink supplies, which are absolutely crucial. I can't stress that enough. You would rather run out of food than you would drink. But essentially, if you're producing drink, you should also be able to produce food. But it's so important to tailor that kitchen tab. It's kind of a buried tab here under labor kitchen. Make sure you get familiar with this one alone. I mean, there are some tabs like I never use, like the stone use next to it. I've never even looked at standing orders here. So, but kitchen, that's one you'll want to get familiar with. The work details also very important too, but I don't think this needs any more adjusting, at least for the moment. If we go to our creatures, let's just see. Our gem cutter doesn't have a job, and one of our farmers is without a job. But I'm actually fairly certain if we unpause things and just let it roll, everybody will probably snap to it, and start to get a job. So he started encrusting, and look, our farmers started planting. So perfect. Everybody's doing exactly what they're supposed to do. We've got, that's right, the rooster. For whatever reason, that rooster's on the loose down below in the lower levels. He's just wandering around, but it's not the end of the world. We might just have to buy another couple of birds. There he is right there. I think he's in that fight with his girlfriend. She kicked him out. So up here, we're going to make a nice little inn. We'll have a little food stockpile. Eventually, we'll assign a bartender. But right now, with a population of 10, we can't really do that. We do have some more beds. Let's make sure that we've got these all turned into bedrooms. Okay, so we want to select multi. Yeah, we have to designate the bedrooms. It's not enough to just put the furniture in there. We do have to designate them with zones, and I forgot about that. But all right, so let's see. Do we have any beds to place? We have one. Okay, let's go to the manufacturing layer or level, and what are we looking at here? So we got the craft dwarf, the mechanic, but most importantly, the carpenter and the stone workshop. Looks like we've got quite a few orders. Most of them are almost done. Over here, we're not working on anything, so let's go ahead and make 10 beds. What were the orders over here? Door, statue, coffer. Okay, let's get some more cabinets made then too. We'll do some wooden cabinets. Wood's a little bit quicker, but stone, I like using stone for a lot of the stuff like chests and doors, just because it gets rid of so much of this stone that's laying around. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, we end up with a ton of it. Eventually, a lot of that will be used to construct the walls, but I'm going with the new strategy. Turn the stone into blocks first before I just lug up the heavy like boulders and stuff that you see strewn about. So again, another great tip from a commenter out there. So keep them coming. But otherwise, look, already drinks are starting to catch up. Oh yeah, that was really the trick that did it right there. I don't think at this point we'll have to worry about our drinks anymore. Let me just double check. Didn't we set somebody to... Yeah, we have 2 brewers now. I have a feeling in a near or short amount of time, we're probably going to have an excessive amount of drinks. All right, still waiting on a few doors to be constructed. Those stone doors take a little while for the masons, but while we do that, I think we should expand. So up here on our administrative level, we're going to set up some of our barracks and training ground. I also like to set up separate stockpiles for like weapons and then one for armor so that the dwarves, can switch back and forth real quick. You want it all close to them so that they can access it, at the drop of a hat if they need to. Because as I think I've mentioned, we're going to have them training every other month, but of course you need your armies ready at any time, any moment if something invades. But we're not quite there yet. With only 10 people, we don't have enough to actually start outfitting or filling out squads, but we can at least lay it out, have our miners working on stuff. And of course, hopefully we'll uncover some new and interesting materials and gems too while we're doing that. But so that's what's happening here on this level. But if we go back down to our bedroom area, these are all temples too. Well, most of them. Yeah, there's a couple bedrooms here too, temples, and then this is going to be like a library over here, and over here might be a bedroom for like a noble dwarf or something. Nice big one. We'll put the bed in there too, but not a rush on that. So what we'll do is we're going to go down a level. Just below that, we can see the staircase actually ends here. So on second thought, let's grab the staircase. We'll set it to a little bit higher priority, and we'll go down. I'm going to go down like 4 or 5 more layers. I don't want to go super deep because we don't want to strike that cavern layer yet. It's random at what level that will be at, but we're probably starting to get close to it as we dig deeper and deeper. In fact, we certainly are, but like I said, it's hard to tell exactly when we'll strike it. So we don't want to expose our fort to the underground yet, but we'll get there. Even if we do it accidentally, there's steps we can take to alleviate it. But I think for the next set of bedrooms, we'll just go, boom, one below it. It's not going to be super critical for us to have like a gap between these 2 levels. Oops, that's the staircase. Yeah, so now we just want the regular mining tool. Very good. And of course, I like to set up my little centralized hallway system here. Sometimes you can get into a good rhythm and just knock it out real quick, but if you're out of practice, it takes a while. There we go. All right, that's looking good. Not quite perfect. There it is. Now from there, of course, we can start to branch off the central hallways, and we'll start to add in little bedrooms here. Boom, boom, boom. You can see this becomes maybe a little bit tedious after you've done it a couple hundred times playing the game. In fact, there used to be a mod in the old version of the game where you could lay out something like this. Like I could, lay out the entire level how I wanted, and then you can copy those as blueprints. And then in the next level or in your next fortress even, you can just boom, with a couple of button clicks, lay out the whole set of mining orders for that level. Really helpful. I might have to see if that mod exists on Steam. I would be shocked if it didn't, to be quite honest, because although I do enjoy getting like unique designs and stuff, or having to work around aqueducts sometimes, it's also good just to have a nice little blueprint feature for your fortress. But here we go. We've got a dozen bedrooms now ready to be dug out and furnished. we've already got more than enough right now up here with only 10 dwarves. We certainly have more than we need, but I'm trying to attract a really big wave of migrants, and I'm just hoping that, if we get it, at least they'll all have bedrooms ready to go. Just taking a look at some of the stocks here. We're doing real good on bars. Iron bars, got them coming for days too. So I've been ordering just like a round of shields made. Now I'm doing a round of iron breastplates. Just not overloading it with work orders, just one at a time. 10 breastplates, 10 shields. We just finished 10 battle axes from the last episode. So yeah, those are all still sitting here. Yeah, there's the shields. So we're getting prepared. Once we do finally get the dwarves we need to set up a little squad, oh man, they're going to be armored with some good stuff. It's not quite steel, and obviously it's far from the true glorious adamantine, but we'll get there. Hopefully we'll get there. But let's get back to the stocks, because I did notice we've got close to 100 blocks here. And look how many boulders I've got. Over 1,000 boulders just laying around. I pity the organizer dwarf, the manager dwarf, who has to count all the boulders of limestone in the fortress. I mean, he is doing a good job, but all right. Anyway, let's go back up to the surface. Yeah, this is not set properly. I think what we want to do is set the stockpile to take items from this one. Yeah, bars and blocks. Boom. So I've got like an intermediary for the blocks, because the stonemason can drop them here, so he doesn't have to go all the way to the surface, or the haulers don't. But then when we're ready and we've got extra hands not doing anything, this stockpile will get filled up. But either way, we can still start to slap down some walls now. So let's pause it, because we're going to have animals and dwarves skittering about. And it's just a little easier to build walls when they're not bouncing around. All right, so we're going to have to kind of thread around this water here. This side won't be too bad, so we'll start with this side. And we are kind of right up next to the hill. So if I just made like this wall just the one level, it wouldn't be very effective, because we'd have a level of equal height where enemies could probably literally just jump over it. But I will of course go up several stories, and we can always dig back the hill a little bit too. Order our miners to the surface. And oops, oh, hold on. Yeah, I did that wrong. Let's cancel this real quick. Okay, there we go. So I do want this to be checked. Keep building after placement. We want that, but I don't want them to use closest. I want to select the material. Yeah, because the blocks are not the closest. This wood is the closest. And that is not what I want to make my walls out of. All right, construction. Nope, that's floors. Oh boy, come on. Let's get this done. Construction, walls, beautiful. All right, select material. We'll put it right here. Beautiful. Yeah, it's also true with like trees that are growing right up next to the walls. We will definitely have to cut those down. All right, we got 41 jet blocks. We use those. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to do this in stages, I can already tell. Jet blocks. So I think what I'll do is we will go ahead and have our miners come up to the surface. Priority 1, in order to remove this hill piece right here, I'm just going to have them remove a strip. We want them to dig a channel at this height. Right there. Well, there's tree trunk. Yeah, there's a tree trunk right there. All right, let's get that chopped, and let's get these chopped too. All right, so that's going to take a little bit of time to get that corner right there in order, because what I want to do is to go to this point right here. We're trying to bring the corner of our fortress to there, where it's going to intersect with the bridge. Let's focus on the back, though. For now, we can continue to lay out some of the walls, and it's kind of also a little premature doing this, since we only have 10 dwarves. You know, most of those dwarves, all of them, in fact, already have jobs, but I'm counting on the fact that the blocks themselves are actually pretty light, and I think they're going to be able to throw up just some of these walls very quickly. All right, and we'll start over here, coming down. Yeah, this will probably be all we lay for now. Let's see, microline. These are really pretty. That like blue color. Chert blocks, petrified wood, jits. Yeah, we're starting to run out. I guess we'll just use a little bit of wood for whatever's left. It's not going to hurt anything, but there we go. All right, yeah. So now we just need to wait for more blocks to be built, and obviously for the dwarves to finish this, and a little bit of landscaping. Still don't know what we want to do with this water. Do we want to drain it? If I was going to put the hospital somewhere, it would be like right on this level. I guess I could drain it into here, potentially. Yeah, we could do that. I would have to build like a little tunnel from here. We could make this our cistern. I was going to set it up, like I said, like as an archery ranger, but I could just dig more. Actually, it might be better to do it right here, because our hospital's up here. All right, so what we'll do then, we'll start to think about a little water cistern. And I'll set 5 because it's not a big priority. Nice large room. We'll do 11 by 11. Open it up to that. Of course, we're going to have to put a door there because if this place gets flooded, we'll want to be able to shut it down. And I think I've already got a floodgate built. Yeah, I knew that we were going to have to set up some sort of water, access at some point. So what we'll do is we'll drain this lake. That'll give us a nice little dry pond bed. And maybe we can even grab some of this other water, fill the cistern right up to the top. Obviously, it's better with the flowing river because then you've got infinite water, essentially. But I think we can achieve what we need to with these little lakes. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we're definitely going to have to wait on building more of this. The only 10 dwarves, I mean, my miners were getting pulled away from their duties and stuff. Let's see if they're digging. Yeah, they're back to digging now, so that's good. That's good. A couple of people don't have jobs, but they'll find something to haul. Yeah, we successfully dug back the hill a little bit, as you can see, so that's not a problem. I could continue to go back if we want, but we're just going to dig even higher up. Like, I like to go up to 5 stories usually. So we'll have a safe fortress as long as we can get to that point, but man, we just need more dwarf power. So we're hoping for a big migration wave. I haven't got any notifications, but oh, check this out too. In the meantime, I was kind of just fiddling around down here, tweaking some stuff. We're looking good on the bedroom level. Yeah. In fact, I could probably paint a couple of these as bedrooms, but just waiting on some furniture to be made. So let's actually see. Yeah, I've got several work orders here. None of them for beds, though. We're going to need a nice little chunk of beds. Let's do 30 beds. Yeah. But that's not actually what I wanted to show you. Check this out. So we've got our constant order for magnetite. And again, I don't really do work orders. I just do a task. But what I like to do is check it occasionally to see, over here at the smelter, what other kinds of metal we have available. Electrum's cool. But look at that, steel is now available. And I'm pretty sure that's because we have access to iron and a flux layer of limestone. I think, don't quote me on that, but I know that we have access to limestone. And I do remember during World Generation that we want that flux layer for steel purposes, but there might be other ingredients too. Nonetheless, we should have access. So I'm going to pause magnetite, put steel on infinite, and give it a high priority. Yeah. So, all right, let's see if we get some steel bars accumulated. How's the work for the metalsmith forge? Finished all that. So I'm just going to type in iron. And I'm kind of going down the list. What I like to do, since there's so many different pieces of armor that a dwarf needs. A single dwarf is going to wear a cap. They're going to have a helmet. They're going to have 2 gauntlets, 2 high boots, 2 low boots. I think you wear both of those. You're going to have greaves. You're going to have a breastplate. You're going to have chainmail. So there's a lot of stuff to make for 10 dwarves. So I'll just go down the list because we got breastplate here when I'm thinking about armor, gauntlets. So we'll make 10 gauntlets? No, we're going to need 20 gauntlets. So we'll let them get to that task. And let's see. Oh, we got another dog. We had some kittens born recently, but so far it's not been a kitten explosion. Over here, I'm going to try and prepare this area, yeah, for our grazing animals, which are currently still on the surface. They're all just kind of being forced to stick around this area. But if I can encourage some like fungal growth down here, then we could potentially move them permanently down here. But it's more of a medium-term kind of project. But hey, look at that. We finally got some migrants. I think only 3, though. No, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Yes, it's happening. We're getting a huge migrant wave. Let's go watch them just trickle in. They'll like come to, yeah, the edge of the map, and you literally don't know who you get or how many you're going to get until they just stop coming in. What? We're up to 30. Look, they're bringing animals in too. These little ducks will come with some dwarves have animal friends. 34. What? We basically just tripled the, yes. Let's go look at our labor pool now. Yeah, and if we sorted by this, new arrivals, look at that. Oh, that's huge. All right, so let's start to see what we got. One of them's a child, no big deal. I like to actually assign dwarven children to certain jobs, like as a bartender. You know, it's a good job for a dwarven child. They're not really going to have any of the skills or qualifications, but hey, they'll grow into it. But, oh yeah, this is so good. We got a permanent furnace operator now. I'm going to have to make some more jobs. We've even got peasants. I like peasants. That's just like a general, all, you know, jack of all dwarves. Jack of all trades. Let's see. All right. A glassmaker, a weaver, permanent armorer, spinner. Yeah, a thresher. We're going to be able to get our own clothing going now. If we go down to this level, yeah, I'm going to have to put things like the weaver, the cloth maker, the leather maker. So we've got a lot of shops to add. I don't even have a butcher station yet, so we'll have to add that too. In fact, I think we need a bit more room down here, so let's get a high priority one on our mining. Let's just order another like 11. Is that 9 by 9? That's fine. And we are kind of getting close to this water over here, so I'm just going to do that. That's as much as we need. Like I said, just slapped on a couple of extra workstations, which, quite honestly, some of those things won't see, even though we have some extra dwarves now. We probably won't be making a lot of our own clothing, but it's good to have that capacity, too, because we have now seen in this series a couple of dwarves get taken by that mood, you know, where they want to go and craft. And we've also seen what happens when they lack the proper resources. They go nuts. Well, the same is true if you don't have the right workstation built, too. That can upset the dwarf. If you suddenly get a glassmaker dwarf who's taken by a mood, but you haven't built your glass kiln yet, that can be a problem. So, see what I mean? We want to have a full, like, array of workshops available, even if we don't necessarily use them that much. Oh, this is helpful. We've got a second medical dwarf, yeah, that arrived. He is our surgeon, or he is a surgeon, but yeah, we'll go ahead and assign him as an orderly too. Yeah, just obviously taking a look at our labor tab, I created a new job type, the furnace operator, because we actually got 3. One of them is that surgeon too, so he's not going to be assigned to that. We'll let him do his own thing. We could very easily make him that, because obviously surgeon is not a full-time job, but I've got some other plans in mind too. But yeah, High Master Furnace. So that's pretty amazing. What I can do now is unpause this. I think we can probably resume one of these wood furnaces, and let's resume a smelter. I had several laid out, but I just paused them because we didn't have enough dwarves. So now we can really ramp up our operation. And you know what I keep forgetting to do, but we definitely need it as an anvil. Wait, why can't other objects? Iron. Anvil, there it is. I'm not sure why it didn't pop up right away, but the gauntlets are being worked on. Let's actually prioritize our anvil real quick. That way we can lay out another metalsmith right here. That's what I've reserved this position for. And we're going to double up now on the carpenter and the stoneworker shop. So we'll have 2 of each pumping out stuff. Oh, and I've been laying little statues. Look at the dwarf statue. That right there looks to be a statue of a bug, I think is what that is. Let's look at some of the other ones. If we go a little bit lower, we've got a statue of a cow, another dwarf, some banners or flags. Yeah, let's go below again to some sort of bear or panther maybe. A couple more furry fellows and another thing. Okay, well, the sprites are so nice and extensive. It's easy to take that for granted if you play it on the Steam-only version, because, of course, Dwarf Fortress originally started as an ASCII-only game, which means, literally no graphics, just character representations. Like a dwarf would be a capital D, moving about the screen. An orc would be a capital O or whatever. But man, oh man, I still can't lay any beds right now. No, that's a door. Yeah, we're out of beds. Dang. See, this is why we need these dwarves. Oh, we got a petition. A priest wants to now requires a temple. Yeah, we'll approve that. Location built and furnished with new position appointed by you. Priest for the doctrine of seeds. So we've already got, a temple for that. Let's go down to the bedroom level. It was a doctrine of seeds. Let me see. Festive temple. Let me try this. Doctrine of seeds. I don't see that actually listed. Well, no, these are all the places. If I were to set a new temple, there it is, Doctrine of Seeds. So how many do we have total? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. I think one of them got added. Yeah, because we originally started with 10. Oops. Originally started with 10. That was at least all I dug out. Well, not to worry. I could just dig more. That's not a big deal. I guess, the seeds one is what we need. So I'll come down here to this level and dig out a couple more temple rooms. Oh boy. Well, I was just overseeing the construction of those workshops, like I mentioned. Yeah, they got them all built real quick. A few of them I will assign some work orders to, let's see, for the loom, I should say, let's go to our work order, make it permanent. Yeah, as we start to shear our animals, we can do yarn, and we'll even probably do silk eventually too, but something like this, I'll say 100. That's good for a dedicated dwarf, and then we'll check it. Oh, probably not daily. Monthly's good. So that's a permanent order now on our list here. But yeah, we're working hard, churning out all kinds of stuff. That steel production only yielded 2 bars so far. But yeah, so far only 2 bars. But I was thinking about it, and I actually think we have to make pig iron first. Now, of course, I could just Google this or go to the Dwarf Fortress wiki. I'm sure all that information is readily available, but obviously I'm too focused on just playing here, stumbling over my own feet, trying to figure things out. But yeah, so I did set up a work order for making pig iron, and of course, I went ahead and just slapped up a work order for steel, because that is kind of what we want to make the most of. So a permanent order for those is good, and we're still churning out some random stuff. Chains, we'll set up a dungeon later so that if any dwarfs get in trouble, they can be locked up for their punishment. And now we're working on the greaves, so we got all the gauntlets done, and now it's on to the legs. But either way, I also realized that I had made a mistake up here in this, what we were going to do, our cistern. I started digging it out at this distance right here, and if we go below, yeah, you can see that's directly over the manufacturing quarter here. So I had to stop. Actually, probably should replace those walls, but yeah, I had to stop and dig further back. So that means at this point, we won't be able to expand, down here anymore, but that's okay. There's plenty of room to expand on the sides or even go down to this section if we need to. But what's important is that they are getting ready to dig out the water area. So this is where our water will filter into, but I want to say going to be a kind of an elaborate setup. Not really, though. It's not super elaborate, but let's go ahead and do it right now together. So we'll pause it. I will set the mining to be the highest priority. What we want to do is start off not at this upper level, but down below where the actual cistern will be. This is where the water will store at. Now let's go to the surface real quick. All right, we got some water here. And this is really what we're trying to get, this puddle right here, because then I can build my walls over that part. But we'll take this water too. So what we need to do is dig this tunnel up to the surface. And I think we're good. Let's switch over to our staircase. And yeah, we'll come back up. No, that's down. Perfect. Right about there. I'm going to stay below the surface for now. Let's go back to our regular mining tool, and we'll just dig a tunnel, just like this. This is eventually all going to be filled with water. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's very perfect. Let's bring it to right there. All right, now what we can do now, well, let's let them dig this out. Yeah, they're going to come get this. Huh. Oh, no, that's not perfect. That's okay. We can still deal with it. What we'll do now, is I'm going to have to fill that in with a wall, but we'll go ahead and actually let's bring it back a little bit more. It will definitely make more sense once this gets all filled up. Okay, so there's that. Let's go ahead and replace that part that we just dug out with some walls. Right there. Perfect. We'll just use jet. Wait, I have jet blocks. That's fine. All right, it's going to look a little weird having the black wall piece, but I don't really care about that. If I did, then I would try and build my upper walls out of all one material, and trust me, you would never get them built unless. Oh, I forgot about that. Oops. Yeah. Guess what? Woo! We had a dwarf be taken by a mood. And they just built a hazelwood cage. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Yes. Okay, so, yeah, look, it all happened while we were just chit-chatting. It's a good thing. Well, yeah, we're well prepared because our dwarf could have gone absolutely insane if I hadn't. But a wooden cage, fairly certain all that would require, it's literally just some wood. But we're going to have to be careful now when placing cages for whatever reason. If we want to set up a cage trap, we do need to be aware that we've got a legendary cage here in the fortress. I might just put that on display. Actually, I think I've talked about this before. We could set it up as a cage trap. Here's what we'll do. We'll do it right now. Let's go into the construction. We'll say cages and restraints, and we'll set up a cage. Can be used to contain an animal, and metal cage can be. Wait. I don't think we just want the cage. We want a cage trap. Yeah. So we want trap, not just the cage, wherever that was. We want to go to traps, then this. Yes. So we have to have the cage pre-built, but we do. Okay, I just screwed it up. There we go. I always right-click and cancel it. All right. Okay, we got to choose the mechanism, and that's it. I guess they'll just use whatever cage we have available. I think I made a bunch of cages at one point. Let's see. ABC cages. Well, we've got a few. There it is. That's the named one. Toggle forbidden status of the item. Will not use items. That's probably what I should do. Yeah. We'll just toggle it as forbidden right now. What I might eventually do is just set up the cage in the noble's bedroom, because eventually, hopefully, we'll get enough population to attract a noble dwarf, or we can appoint one. And they'll want like some really fancy stuff in their bedroom to make it nice. So once we get to that point, we can just put that cage in there. It doesn't even have to necessarily contain anything. Just its mere presence will be impressive. Okay, so we're good here. Now, before we actually start letting the water in, which is the final step, we want to come back down here to this point and place the floodgate. So let's go to, is it machine? Yeah, floodgate. Beautiful. And I've got one already made up. I made that fairly early on because I knew it was going to happen. And in addition, let's come up here. I've got a Fisher Dwarf shop. Since we have a nice big area, I figured I can put the workshop. But one thing we don't want to put in here is the lever to control the gate itself. That needs to be outside in case this room floods. Yeah, you don't want the lever flooded too. So let's go to machines and fluids, lever, and I'll just put it right here. Literally like right in front of the door. Beautiful. Let's come down to this section, and I'm going to make a work order to just make some more mechanisms here. All right, I'm actually not going to do it that way. I'll just set up some tasks because it's easier. Rock mechanisms. Let's go. The floodgate is now open, so it is time to go to the surface. There we are. All right, let's do this. We're going to grab our mining, highest priority. We don't want to have to wait for this. If it's going to be a disaster, I want it to happen. No, I think we've got this figured out. But if you are new to the game and you're doing something like this, or even worse, like more dangerous, playing with lava, make sure you have some slabs made up. So if you lose dwarves, like in drowning, you can still build like a little not a ritual, sort of a testament to them, little shrine to that dwarf, because even if their body is missing, they'll still haunt the fortress if they don't have a proper resting place. But you can make a slab and then have somebody engrave it with like their name and stuff. But anyway, that's a total side note. Just be careful. You got to prepare for everything with the dwarf fortress, including the dwarf's afterlife. But okay, enough stalling. Let's go below one. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come to the surface here. So we want to dig this square right there. Oops, I don't have it selected. Yeah, we want the trench. Was it there? Yeah. So that should open the gates. Well, it should allow the water to flow. Those two. Let's see what happens. We'll let those, and the dwarf should come to the surface to do it, so he's not going to be in that tunnel. Beautiful. Did that do anything? Oh, no, it's a different dwarf. Okay. Oh, no. He fell in. He fell in. Dagost, the expedition leader. Oh, he's one of our originals. No, he's still got a chance. If he can get down here and climb out, he's still got a chance. Let's follow him. Oh, no, he's trying to get back to the surface. He's going to die, isn't he? Nope, there he goes. Oh, I think he made it out. Where is he? Where is it? Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Dagost made it out. Whoo, boy. All right, let's just watch the... No, don't go down there. What are you doing, dude? What is he doing? There's literal water coming, dummy. He's trying to swim up there. What is he doing? They're having a little bath or something. I don't know what they're doing. Well, it's not as strong a flow as like a river. Just this one... Oh, God. Human caravan. Whew, I thought it was like a dwarf trout or something. There's fish in here, a toad. Yeah, it's stagnant water, and I'm also not seeing the depth. There we go. Yeah, it's not deep. It is draining, but another thing, we need to dig this one. Let's see. Right level. Okay, yeah. definitely needs more water. So let's go to the surface again and let's find this tunnel. There it is. Such a disaster. All right, highest level. Boom, right there. That should do it, right? Yep. And also, you may realize too that once these lakes actually properly, fully drain out, we're going to be left with an entrance, to the fortress, albeit through the reservoir. They'll have to get in through the reservoir, but we'll just seal all this off with like actual blocks or floor pieces. So don't worry, I haven't completely lost my mind. But yep, we can see it's draining. Okay, that's good. That's good. I don't know if it'll ever actually truly drain, though. We'll just kind of have to see. To be quite honest, I've never tried to fill a cistern like this with standing water. I mean, this is literally stagnant water. I don't know how good this is going to be. Maybe we can't even drink this. I don't know. It's all learning experience for me, let me tell you what. And yet I've played this game so many times, but I still learn something new each time. That's really one of the big draws of Dwarf Fortress. You're always learning. Each time you have a dwarf or a fortress, you expand your knowledge a bit, and hopefully you can build on that with the next one. But we've got diplomacy. We've got to do some trading at the surface. We've still got to get our walls built, so there's still a lot to do. And I think our next migrant wave, depending on its size, we can start to think about actually setting up a military squad for the first time. So that'll be exciting. I hope you guys will tune in for those episodes upcoming. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I'll see you guys on the next one.